Are we
Are we
live?
live?
I
I
think we
think
are
we are
live.
live.
I'll
I'll just
just change one
change one
setting.
setting.
Okay. I was checking my audio before the stream. So, yeah, welcome to the stream. Today, the topic that we are going to cover from Design of Everyday Things is human thought. And before we get into human thought, we will try to quickly revise what we had discussed yesterday, like in a very small, just so we have, you know, small recap. Can this chat not be floating everywhere? No? Okay. All right. So let's start with this. In the last stream, we discussed the 7 stages of this. I forget the topic name. Yeah, the 7 stages of action. Yeah. The first stage is execution. The second stage is evaluation. When you take from goal, create a plan, specify this series of steps that you have to take, then perform those on the environment, and then you evaluate what you have done to the world, by perceiving those changes, by interpreting how the changes have come, and then comparing them to your plan. So this is what we had discussed in the last stream. Also, if I can't see your comments until I'm done with this, because I have hidden the comments and I have no device separately to look at the comments right now. So yeah. Now, what we're going to discuss today is human thought. Uh, I'll try to keep this comparatively smaller because this is a very deep topic, and each topic coming forward in this chapter is pretty complex. So you want to be able to read it for yourself so that you can process and come back. Uh, so human thought. I'm experimenting a little bit with the format right now. If you have some feedback, please leave comments. But to understand this better, we will try to use the technique of active recall, in which you read something, but you come up with the questions regarding those topics to get to those answers later. So you're better while reading the chapter for you guys and for me to recall, and because recalling is a better way of remembering things. That's also human thought, and it's related to the next chapter actually, but we kind of will touch upon this later in this chapter itself. Okay, so here are the questions that we are going to tackle. I would really appreciate if you guys took a note of this. Maybe after the stream, when the stream is done, you can note these down for yourself. uh, and I've written the answers, like the short answers, because these are notes. So I've written short and crisp answers. We will discuss it further. But I hope you can see my screen though. Yeah, you can see my screen. Okay. So the first question that comes into your mind while reading this chapter is, why study human mind? The answer to that is because the, we are making products for people, and to understand human mind is very essential, because otherwise everything you create is based on something else but not the human part, which leads to failure of the product, most probably, because if you don't understand who you're making it for, then it is not possible to make it properly. You will be missing a lot of elements if you don't take in account the human part of it. It's going to be very difficult. And there's a second part of it that people think, oh, we are humans, so I don't need to study humans, because I am a human and I understand humans. That's not right. That's not how it works. Every person is different. So if you try to base it off your own experiences, you will put the biases which are in yourself into the product, and that is going to maybe harm the product. So it is better to study human thought process. So we find what is common between all humans and try to use that to our advantage while designing a product. And if you have a specific person in mind, then you start designing for that person, but not for yourself, unless you are one of the people who comes into the demography you're designing for. That's a very specific case, though. Right. So, why? So, again, I'll give you a quick example of why it is hard to understand human psychology, not psychology, human thought rather. You stand up and take 5 steps and come back and sit. Did you have to think? Did you have to instruct your body? Ki, oh, now take a left, a right, left. It just happens automatically, right? How does that happen? We don't know. See, if anybody knows how to ride a cycle or a bike for that matter, uh, when we are learning how to ride a cycle or how to ride a bike, every step is very conscious. You have to. I'm over overstepping a little bit to the topics coming forward, but hang on. So when we are learning to ride a cycle, we are very conscious. Uh, we are learning slowly. We do everything consciously. Like every pedal we put, or every gear we change, or every acceleration we take is very well thought out, or at least thought out in the sense of we are putting full consciousness into it. We are 100% paying attention to everything that we do. But as we learn it, it just starts, we start automating things. We stop thinking about things. The body just does it. So how does our body just know after some time that, oh, I have to do this to do that? Like you think, oh, I need to go faster, and your hand just does this. Like you just accelerate. So, and then we cry and we laugh, and nobody teaches us how to do that. We just know. Just our body knows, our brain knows. So it's complex. It doesn't. You can't teach everything, but you do need to teach and learn things. It's so why does that happen? Where does that come from? Why don't we just know how to swim? Like there are animals, some dogs just know how to swim, right? They don't have to be taught. Fishes don't need to be taught how to swim, obviously. Uh, Tigers and all these animals, they just know how to swim. Why don't we? Why do we need to learn how to swim? Why is this? We don't know the answers until we study humans. And until you understand humans, you can't design products for them. So that's the first question we answer. And the short answer that I've written here is because products are for people. Right. Now, what is overlearning is a second question I can ask. Uh, I was talking about learning how to cycle or how to ride a bike, right? So, as I talked about it, um, over the time, once we keep practicing, we keep studying, and we keep observing ourselves and keep learning, after a point of time, as I already said, that it just automates, just looks easy after some time. But at first it doesn't. Like at first it's very tough. But as we do it repeatedly, we practice, we think about it, we plan, and it just keep practicing mentally and physically. We simulate it in our mind multiple times before we actually do it, and we teach ourselves how to do it. Once that is done, it becomes simple. It becomes automated, and you can do it without being aware of it. That's called overlearning. In our terminology, in psychology or design terminologies. So that's overlearning. Interestingly, in the fifth chapter in errors, this will come into picture a lot, because this is where errors happen when you know already what you have to do and something unexpected happens. And that can be from outside or inside. Like it can be your mistake, or it could be the environment's mistake. So all this is going to come back, but for now let's just stick to overlearning and what it is. What is overlearning? It's basically once conscious attention is not required, and just everything is automated and everything is easy after you learn it, after you practice it. That's overlearning. Now, what is declarative memory and procedural memory? This is a very definition based thing. When you just try to recall facts as statements, that's declarative memory. And what is, sorry, procedural memory is basically when you have to physically think of doing an activity to recall one of the parts of that activity, that is called procedural memory. Like if I ask my mother कि नमक किधर है किचन में, where is the salt, so how she would say कि it's there in the kitchen behind this particular thing. How? She doesn't remember that, right? She has to go back in her memory, look at the videos in her mind of playing acha, when I want salt I open this in the third cupboard and take this out and then take that out. That's procedural memory, where you have to go through your whole, recording of your memory to find that object. It doesn't just come out as a statement. It's not a fact, it's not a universal fact. It's a it's a it's a knowledge that because you have manipulated or you have experienced it, and that's why you just know it. Right, what's the next question that I have written here is, sorry, so should I check comments quickly? I think I should check comments quickly. Okay, no comments that I see here. Maybe I just check, yeah, here. Okay, I don't see any comments. Cool. Right, we'll go to the next one. Right, what is the relationship between cognition and emotion? So I think first of all I should answer the question of what is cognition and what is emotion, right? I haven't written that here, so I'll just have to refer to the book. Okay. Hmm. Right, cognition is just making sense of things, and emotions is assigning. I think that comes to the, yeah. So what is the relationship between cognition and emotion is, you make sense of things, and that's cognition. You observe, you perceive. So as you can come here, so I think it's related to the perceiving of the world and then interpreting. So I think the perceiving part must be the this part, cognition, and emotion is related to interpretation basically. Right. So cognition is you making sense of things and providing understanding, like your brain provides you the understanding of things. And emotion is when you assign values to it or you judge it. Like, okay, I understand this happened, but what is the meaning of that for me? Is it good for me? Is it bad for me? Did I benefit from this or did I lose something? Right. Is it safe or is it threatening? So basically assigning values, like what exactly that means to for me or the people around me or the system which I am in. That's there in this. Rather that I have derived from this is, what are conscious thoughts? That's a actually very deep question when you think about it, and I don't think this would be giving you a complete answer, but let's try. Acha, I'm skipping ahead a little. Okay, there is another question before that. What are the strengths and weaknesses of subconscious mind? Right. So this is a very interesting part. So our subconscious mind, like we were discussing, right? Once we have learned something, it just happens automatically. When something is happening automatically where you don't have to pay attention to it, it is most probably happening from your subconscious mind. And during I think 7 stages of action, we already discussed subconscious a little bit, right? That the goal, any step during the 7 actions could be subconscious. Like you would be, your goal could be subconscious, or your the whole process can go subconscious, or one of those, like interpretation is subconscious, or comparison is subconscious, planning is subconscious, anything can be subconscious. So what are subconscious thoughts actually? Sorry. what's the strengths and weaknesses of subconscious thoughts, or subconscious part of our mind? So this very big strength is pattern matching and trend, like finding general trends. I think trends and pattern matching is kind of related, because trends are nothing but patterns that happen over the period. I think so. Yeah, that could, I could be wrong definition wise, but I think I'm communicating what I mean. So let's say, I'll give you an example. Um, so let's say have learned how to cycle. Okay, I know exactly how to cycle. Everything is cool. I will not fall. But one day it rained, and I know how to cycle. I know by my previous patterns that when I'm walking, it is slippery, right? So now I can estimate, I can predict that it's most probably going to be slippery for my cycling as well. I haven't cycled in rain yet, but I know from my understanding, my experiences, and my subconscious pattern matching. I don't. No one has to tell me, right? That okay, when you cycle, it is going to be slippery. That's not a new knowledge for you. You already kind of know that, because when you walk, you slip in a rainy day. So your subconscious already made that pattern match. That it's going to be slippery when I cycle. It That's what maybe we call common sense, maybe. But yeah, in this case, I think that's the pattern matching part. Yeah. Uh, Trends basically, uh, see, this is our basic analysis. So, okay, let's say India, uh, right now they're playing bad, right? Uh, they're playing bad against a strong team like New. Who's playing? We're playing against New Zealand, right? And kind of most of the people don't expect India to win against New Zealand. Why is that? Because that's a trend, kind of like we have seen this before. There's a pattern also and a trend that okay, we will perform bad against New Zealand, but when you go to Australia, we'll perform good. It's a prediction, and from our past experiences, we can predict that okay, it's going to be fine, and most likely it's going to be correct, but it could be incorrect as well. So it doesn't have to be right. It's just we take small data. Okay, New Zealand say we are losing. Will When we go to Australia, we'll win, because that's what we have learned from the past, right? So all these things. So the strength is pattern matching. It's very rapid. It's automatic. It is effortless. It just happens. We don't even think about it. It just happens in our subconscious. That's what we are calling subconscious. Now, you can find relation between past and present. Again, it's part of the predictions and trends. You know, and you use very low amount of data. You just see a small pattern and you start thinking, oh, this is going to happen because this happened now. And this is also happens. This happens in negative things as well. Like let's say, oh, I'm taking this particular pen to my exam, and I did not. My exam was not good with the last time I wrote with this pen. So it's a very small amount of data, right? I won't even think about, oh, the paper could be difficult and that's why my current paper is not going good. Oh, I just took this pen to this exam, that's why this is bad. The exam is not going well for me. So low amounts of data and trivial data. We just take that and we make patterns out of it. And as I've already established, the weakness of the subconscious is it can make incorrect patterns. It can recognize incorrect patterns. It cannot differentiate between a common and a rare pattern. Like if something happens rarely, but you have seen it, you'll just learn that and you'll say, oh, this happened, so now the other thing will happen, because you're pattern matching. But you don't be able to recognize, your subconscious won't be able to recognize that this was a rare event. वो दूध के चले हुए कि इसको छाछ भी भूख भूख के पीते हैं. It's that कि I've seen a pattern. Anything white made of milk will burn my tongue. So छाछ also, buttermilk also, I'm full old. I'll sip slowly. I can't really translate properly sometimes, so sorry about that. And then you're biased to your subconscious is biased towards regular. So I'll give you a small example. For example, for the longest time in Bangalore, it was not raining, and people stopped carrying umbrellas for a long time. Now, when it started raining, gone. We all now carry umbrella regardless. At least I do. I know it's not going to rain maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow or maybe the whole month. But I, I am biased because of whatever has happened for last month. I'm going to carry that umbrella. So that it could not be a weakness actually. I've written it under a weakness. Even the book says it's a kind of a weakness. But I feel like this could be helpful in sometimes. Just thinking of the example that I just gave, that okay, for the month maybe it doesn't, but one day if it rains, I was like, oh, I have the umbrella, yeah, nice. So that's good or bad, depends. So yeah, if it's in a negative scenario, I think it will be negative. It is kind of in a positive scenario right now, what I'm giving example, so that's a pretty okay. Right. Limited formal activity, limited in terms of formal activities, and weak in reasoning. You can't reason because you're of your subconscious. If you if I just let's say I'm a designer, right? If someone asks me, oh, why are you putting this particular button here, I just feel like it. Nobody's going to take me seriously. I cannot take decisions based on my subconscious. I should not. Nobody should, because there's a high probability that it's going to be wrong. It might not be wrong, but there's a probability. If you're not basing it on reasoning, then it's bad, right? You cannot just place elements anywhere you want because you feel like it. So because your subconscious is not good with reason. That's why. Okay. Next is, now again, if you have done that task repeatedly, if you have made multiple products, you worked in multiple, you know organizations, we have worked in multiple projects, then maybe it goes into your subconscious, these things like, okay, the button will be here, maybe it's correct. So then it becomes subconscious. Maybe, okay, something is wrong in the screen, or okay, button is in the wrong position, it should be there. It can go into subconscious, but you don't use it for reasoning, right? That's not your reason. You use your subconscious to find out, okay, something is wrong in the screen and this button should be there, but then you have to go back and reason why. Okay, why should it be there? And sometimes you could be wrong. Okay, maybe it does belong in a separate place. Like share is here, what if I just put the share button here, and I can reason, right, why it should be here, this should not be here. Okay, maybe I'm not elaborating enough, but I think it's fine. Okay. Next is, what is conscious thought? Conscious thought is a labored, very slow thought process where you have to think a lot. Conscious thought is when you sit down and you're thinking, okay, this is the scenario, this is my problem, or this is what I have to solve, and you start thinking, and you ponder your decisions, and now you're thinking, okay, what should be my steps that I should take? What is my goal? What is my plan? You know, what are my alternative plans? What can I do? Okay, this can be one plan, this can be another plan. Then I can compare these two plans, and I can rationalize that, okay, this particular thing has these problems, so I'm going to skip this one and do the other one. So all these things, rationalization, decision making, pondering, and all this comes under conscious thought. You're finding explanation, right? So I said, right, I have this button here, I don't know the reason, so I'll just find an explanation, maybe through my reasoning. So that's conscious thought. Maths is very conscious. Maths cannot be subconscious. Maths has, like, okay, 1 plus 1 is 2. That's subconscious, but that's not just math, right? That's just one thing. A plus b whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus a 2ab. That goes into your subconscious, but now using that, you have to sit down. Okay, what is 1 plus 2 whole square, 1 square plus 2 square plus, so that calculating that is conscious, but recalling something can be subconscious from your subconscious. Okay. Now, how does positive and negative emotional state affect ability of, human mind? Okay, now I have seen this happen with people in real time. When I was reading this in the book, I could really picture people, going through this whole thing in their mind. Now, the book says negative feeling is good for, positive feeling is good for creativity. When you're feeling good, you can do creative stuff. But if it's too much, if too much positivity, then you're not going to get one thing done. You're going to jump around between things. You know, I want to read it properly. Yeah, so it says, yes, it says unable to finish one thought before another comes into your mind. I've seen people when they're like comparatively in a positive state of mind, they keep jumping around from one thing to another thing because they're feeling energetic, they are feeling positive, and they have a lot of energy, and their mind keeps, clocking around and just jumping between concepts, and okay, oh, this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. But that just they leave one path that they're supposed to go to. They're not able to finish one thought. That could be bad, but for a creative process it's good. Let's say in design thinking, I'm in an idea generation phase. If I'm positive, it's good, I can create many ideas. It's good for the design process. So it's good for that, but it's not good for getting things done. Too much positivity, I'm saying. Negative state of emotion is good for building focus. If you're slightly negative, it's good because you're worried. Let's say I'm nervous about something, I'll be focused. Okay. If I'm nervous, I'll be focused on, okay, I'm nervous, I should be focusing on this particular task at hand. And I'll pay attention to it. And if I'm worried, I'm nervous, it's good for me. Slightly, slight nervousness is good. People say this very often, actually. So slight negative feelings, slight negative, state of mind is good for focus. But if it's too much, you get tunnel vision. And what happens actually is you're not able to think in a broader perspective. So let's say I am worried about getting a task done, and even if I'm feeling very negatively about it, and if I'm not able to finish that task, I'm stuck. If I don't finish this task, I the world is going to end. People are going to think negatively of me. We stop thinking about, okay, we can maybe stop this and go to another one and come back to this. No, it becomes you become very narrow, and you're not able to get beyond it. Basically, you're not able to look beyond this narrow point of view. So both negative and positive state of minds, if in the right amount, it's fine. But if it's too much, then it becomes a problem. Actually, when it comes to state of minds, I want to share the something with you guys. Or this is not related to the book. It's just a different thing. Quadrants of emotion, not emotional emotion. Right, this thing. So this is interesting. So what we just talked about, you could go through this low energy, high energy, pleasant and pleasant. So you can be feeling high energy, unpleasant, high energy, pleasant, low energy, unpleasant, low energy, pleasant. So yeah, you look into this, the four quadrants of not this thing. Sorry. Yeah, right. So this diagram is what I was talking about. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to discuss. I'll quickly look for something in the chat. I don't know if the chat is getting updated. I'll just go to the stream from my phone to check the comments. I hope doesn't start playing my own audio here. Okay, no comments yet. One like. Okay, I think that's cool. All right. So as there's no one yet in, oh, it's Sunday night. That's fine. I'll just, if you have any doubts about the topic, leave a comment. I'll reply back. In the next stream, we are going to talk about human cognition and emotion, where we will talk about visceral levels, reflective behavior, and visceral, and how is it, connected to the 7 stages of action. And we'll try to finish this in the next stream so that we can go to the next chapter. But I don't promise that we'll